What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Padawan Podcast, Apocalypse Movies All Star Wars podcast, where we geek out everything from the galaxy far, far away of Star Wars. I'm your host, Jake Berlin, aka Qui-Gon Jake, and I'm joined once again by my fellow table member, Jacob Bartley, aka Grandma Bartley. How's it going, man?
It's going fantastically well. We're living in a great world where Star Wars dominates everything. We got comics, books, movies, TV shows, so much Star Wars to talk about.
First time since has been back that we have a full show written up today. Got a lot of cool stuff to talk about, a lot more of the Force Awakens stuff actually to talk about, more than Rogue One. We're going to throw in a little bit of Han Solo comics. Jacob's got a final thought on Bloodlines as he finished it. Some Rebels as well, and then we'll get to address the Academy at the end of the show. But we're going to start off with some Rogue One. One piece of news that dropped over the last few weeks besides the trailer. We touched on the trailer on Movie News. We're going to talk about the brand new character posters. They were released just a couple days after the trailer. They focused on all the main players from the original poster that was released. Everyone but Darth Vader. That's the one I was really hoping for, but of course I'm not going to show that. You can kind of see the Death Star plans on each of the characters' faces. Very cool looks. Each plan is different on each of the posters. What do you think of them, and which character are you most excited to see in this film?
Yeah, I like the posters. What's not to like about them? But they're not anything too special.
Yeah, nothing special.
They're cool though, and of course they don't have a Vader one. It's weird what they're doing with Vader. It's like they want people to know he's in it. Mm-hmm. They don't want him to overshadow the movie. I think that's smart because you don't want to set expectations for Vader. You don't want people to think, to look at the Suicide Squad marketing, for example. There was a lot of Joker in the marketing, but he wasn't in the movie as much.
And that was one of the criticisms.
You don't want a situation like that with Vader. You show him a tiny bit, and they don't show him for more than seconds in the trailers. And I think that's smart because even if he has 5 to 10 minutes of screen time in the movie, exactly, so you get the whole thing in the movie-going experience. But yeah, these posters, are awesome. I would hang them up. Kind of weird is the map, the plans are on their face.
Yeah, they're different in each poster.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Kind of weird looking, but it's still cool. I like them.
Yeah, I think that they're all really cool. They're clever. Kind of the same thing with the Force Awakens did with their character posters, with the weapons in front of their faces.
Similar, yeah.
And you were talking about Vader. I think that they did a really, really good job on the official poster of having him kind of just loom over it inside the Death Star. He was kind of camouflaged inside the Death Star with the original poster. So that's very cool. I think the posters are super cool. The K2SO thing is just, I'm so excited to see this.
I didn't answer your question about who I'm most excited for. It's K2SO for sure.
I think that...
Felicity Jones, of course, but K2SO.
Yeah, K2SO, just from the trailers, looks like such a different droid than what we've seen before.
Yeah.
Felicity Jones, obviously, the trailer really highlighted how different she is. And Donnie Yen's character, I think a lot of people are going to come out of this film really, really liking Donnie Yen.
I'm excited for his character as well, for sure.
There's all these characters are just so different. So different from what we've seen in Star Wars before. That's what makes it so exciting. So Rogue One is definitely very anticipated here at Apocalypse. So moving on to a little bit of Force Awakens news. The film is being re-released on Blu Ray 3D next month. And as far as a little marketing promo, some stuff is being released as far as special features go. The home video will include a commentary from director J.J. Abrams, and inside the commentary, a little tidbit was released as far as Abrams commenting on, spoiler, the very crucial scene between Kylo Ren and Han Solo in the film, where Han Solo meets his fate. Thanks to USA Today, Abrams commented on Kylo Ren's thought process in that scene by saying the following: Kylo Ren in this moment is actually being convinced to walk away from this. Abrams says in the commentary, but ultimately deep down he's gone too far. So what we've kind of thought is that he's speculating or talking about Kylo Ren when he's talking to his father. He's thinking about walking away, but as soon as he lands the lightsaber over, something just switches inside of him, and deep down he's too far gone. He says, like Jacob said earlier, F this guy screwed me, blah, blah, blah. So Jacob, you hear these comments, and in the context of the scene, does it make sense? And what do you think about them?
We've talked about this scene so much since
we haven't talked about it in a while, though.
Not in a while, but like within the first few months after The Force Awakens came out, we talked about it so much. What does it mean?
Yeah.
Like, did Han actually turn the lightsaber on? We talked about that possibility. Like, what was Kylo Ren thinking? And a lot of people assume that the whole entire time he was just playing Han and pretending that he was going to, come to the light side.
Mm-hmm.
But I always kind of thought that he was truly struggling.
I thought so too. Yeah.
And you could see it in his face. Adam Driver plays it so well. What does he say? He says, "I'm being torn apart," and I love the way he delivers that line. That's why I thought he's a great choice to play because I think from now on we're going to see Kylo without the mask for the most part, and it's going to rely on his performance.
I hope so because he's got that scar down his face now.
I hope so too, but at the same time, some of my favorite parts from The Force Awakens are the way he sounds under the mask and the way his voice sounds.
The mask is gone now, though.
But the voice alteration, I love that. So I don't know. I want the voice without the mask, But oh well, I'll take it. I love seeing Adam Driver play the character, but yeah, I've always assumed that he was truly struggling. You could see it in his face. You could see it in the way he talks, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit more later, but. After doing the Bloodline audiobook, it changes my perspective on this scene, and it changes my perspective of Kylo Ren and Han Solo every time I see them. And that's why I told you it's so worth it to do these audiobooks, because they are canon, they're real history in the Star Wars universe, and this is what they're for, to inform you on the missing pieces in your Star Wars knowledge, and also it changes your perspective on characters and storylines for sure.
Yeah, I think that I agree with you. I thought that he always was conflicted from the get-go. I thought he was struggling with it. I believed him when he said he was being torn apart, and he was following his father by saying, or when Han Solo was saying, Snoke is using you, he's going to use you until you're pretty much unusable anymore, and
I feel like he knows that.
Yeah,
but his defense is. Yeah, well, the thing is with they're not Sith, but with the dark Force users,
the dark side,
they always want to overtake their master eventually. So he knows that Snoke is using him, but I think deep down inside he knows one day I'm going to be the leader of this galaxy. So it's fine for now,
Yeah, I agree, and I think that it leaves for some very interesting stuff going forward if this is the case, because we've all speculated. Oh, is Kylo Ren redeemable? That question is still out there. Some think he is, some think he isn't. But the fact that he was considering, stepping away and following his father back to wherever they were from and came from, that's a big deal. Because a lot of people think that, he was always out there to kill his father. But now that J.J. Abrams comes out and says, no, I think that, he was legitimately considering walking away from what he was doing.
And it makes sense, because what does he say earlier in the film? I feel it's again the pull to the light.
Yeah.
So it's not like
he's still struggling.
It's not like him going with Han is crazy, because they already established earlier in the movie that he was struggling with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's cool stuff, and J.J. Abrams coming out and saying that, and I'm excited to look at the commentary as well. I don't know if I'll buy the 3D Blu Ray, but I'm hoping I can get a hold of that commentary somehow, because I want to see more what JJ says.
Yeah, I want to hear the commentary, but I don't care for the 3D.
Yeah, so. And, continuing on with the Blu-ray and the special features, continuing with the promos, JJ Abrams revealed a couple reshoots that were going on in the film. Of course, every film goes through reshoots. One of them had to do with Ava DuVernay, director of Selma, and talking to Yahoo, JJ Abrams revealed the following. I showed an early cut to my friend Ava DuVernay, and she had a bunch of great suggestions. One of them was she really wanted to see Daisy and her attack on Ren have one really cool moment, says Abrams before pointing out a close-up of Ridley about to deliver a decisive blow to her rival. And he continues by saying, boom, it's a little thing, but it really connects you to her intensity. And from what we were thinking is that it's the early shot of Rey fighting Kylo Ren, and it's a close-up of her face right before she's about to strike down on him, coming from the top with her lightsaber. And it's a close-up of her face and very intensity. It's an angry shot. And I think that the fact that DuVernay had a hand in that is something very telling, because a lot of people won't remember, but last year during the press tour, Abrams was asked who he would like to see direct a Star Wars film, and he said Ava DuVernay. And the fact that she had a hand in The Force Awakens just a little bit, it's, who knows, maybe she's next in line for an anthology film, or maybe, you had mentioned earlier, but episode 10. But, Jacob, you hear that Ava DuVernay had a hand in this, and J.J. Abrams took the suggestion very strongly. And, a lot of people like that scene, and I think it's one of your favorite scenes. What do you think about it?
It actually, this surprises me. Not the Ava DuVernay thing, I'll get to that in a minute, but the fact that these were reshoots.
Yeah.
Because they fit so well into what was going on with the character at the time.
We'll get to the second one here in a second, too.
Which one?
We're talking about the intensity one.
Okay, the
Ava DuVernay
intensity
scene,
one. Okay, so we'll get to the second one, but this one also surprises me because here's the thing. I always assumed that every Force user, there's always a chance that there's some dark side in them, no matter what. It just depends what side, which path
and
they
how
go
they
down.
handle it.
So I always felt like, Daisy Ridley, especially after what Kylo Ren did to Han, has this anger towards Kylo Ren. She already didn't like him, obviously. And in that moment, she was being tested by the dark side, and that she could have killed him in that moment.
Yeah.
And she was feeling that anger and that rage, and she wanted to do it. And I felt like they always planned for that. And so it's weird to me that was a reshoot and that was a suggestion from another director. But I love that scene, so I'm so glad it was. And Ava DuVernay, I've talked about it before. Selma is a great film. She's a fantastic director. There's a reason why you're hearing her for Captain Marvel and Black Panther and all these things. I know on Movie News we said maybe Joss Whedon could direct an Ahsoka film, but I think Ava DuVernay could do an Ahsoka film for sure, or Episode 10. I don't mind either way. But I love this. This is awesome, and I love hearing that. Like, what such an unlikely people to be friends, Ava DuVernay and J.J. Abrams. But that's awesome.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, like you had said, it's such a powerful scene. She's obviously very young into this whole Jedi thing and being the Force. Whether she's had it before or not, she's still very young with it. So her anger is definitely expressed there, and I think mainly is due because of the whole Han Solo thing. And she was able to handle it very strongly. I think the scene captures it just tremendously. Close up of her face as she's striking down at him. It's also, if I remember correctly, it's in like slow motion
and she's like standing with her chest out, like what, like she's like
it's a very, very strong scene. That I think that DuVernay having a hand in it is awesome. It's just, I think it's also a testament to Abrams. Like, we've praised him over and over again for doing such a great job with The Force Awakens, but also he's able to take constructive criticism from his peers.
Oh yeah,
DuVernay, Rian Johnson, other people who had a hand in it. I think that, and it ultimately made The Force Awakens a better film. And
that's awesome.
It's like the fact that there were these three big names involved in this film, even maybe a little Colin Trevorrow as well.
And imagine, I'm assuming if they're good friends, that Ava DuVernay was at the premiere of The Force Awakens, and imagine her watching the film and seeing yep, that was me. Yeah. I don't think she's gonna go on and tell everyone that was
but maybe she didn't even know about it.
That he actually put it in the film,
and then she sees it.
How good would that feel? That's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah. So sticking with a little bit of reveal by Yahoo, Yahoo was also revealed that that addition shot reshoots happened in the same fight between Kylo Ren and Rey. Yahoo said the following: Abrams explained that the original cut didn't have the extended moment of self-reflection for Rey, but he decided he needed to add a beat where Rey would take this moment of hearing the Force and thinking about what Maz had told her about closing her eyes and letting it in. And so she had this incredibly internal moment that is extended into movie time, where she basically feels it, accepts it, and is now ready to kick his ass. This is personally my favorite moment in the movie. Just the fact that she kind of just channels the Force for the first time. You see Kylo Ren's face like, oh shit, this is about to go down. And the fact, again, that it wasn't in the film originally, it's in a reshoot. And actually this was actually in the article itself on Yahoo, but this was due to the break between Harrison Ford's injury. He thought of this when Harrison Ford's injury happened. So the fact, if that didn't happen, we probably would have never even seen this scene. So thank you, Harrison Ford, for hurting your leg on the Millennium Falcon, because we wouldn't have gotten the scene beforehand. But Jacob, you hear this, you think about the scene. What do you think the movie would have been like if we didn't have it?
It's so weird. So just like the Ava DuVernay suggestion, I don't see how they were going to not have these two things in the film, because I'm wondering if if they didn't plan to have her channel the Force in that moment, was she still gonna go on and fight Kylo Ren after that and whoop his ass? Like, because that's what led to that.
Yeah.
So if she doesn't do that, she just kind of whoops his ass out of nowhere, which is a criticism that people have already. But if you don't understand Star Wars, and I get that, and it's obviously there's some common sense to it as well, because Kylo Ren was hurt. He'd already been, Finn got him good one
Chewie's
time.
bowcaster.
Yeah, so he was dying pretty much, and obviously, if he was fully healthy, he could have killed her in 2 seconds. But the fact that she's already a proven fighter from the beginning of the film, when those two guys try to take BB-8 and she just whoops their ass, like no problem, and she like knocked Finn out with her stick. She can fight just in general. And then we assume that she maybe had some Jedi training at a very young age, and we know they start young. So all those things considered, it makes sense. But I still don't understand how there could have been a scenario where she didn't channel the Force there, but I'm so glad they did, because it's such a powerful moment.
Yeah, maybe like it's crazy to think about what maybe the ending was just completely different.
And that's what I'm saying. Maybe it was, and then that he had these ideas and changed it. You know,
like maybe this idea had Abrams maybe think about, like maybe we should have Rey turn the lightsaber on in this movie. Like maybe the original plan was to not even have Rey hold the lightsaber.
I think
like maybe Episode 8 was.
I think. Here's the thing: they did it perfectly, because
Yes.
you have to have a lightsaber battle. You have to. There's no one else, who else is gonna have a lightsaber battle. You know, you have to. But a lot of people complain about this. The fight was sloppy. It was all over the place. It was not coordinated at all. She was running and just turning around and fighting real quick, and then running again. Like, she's not trained, so that's how she had to fight. And everyone was complaining like, "Oh, it's not like the fights from the prequels." Like, it's not going to be. First of all, like, Jedi's different, lightsaber wielders learn different style and techniques of fighting as well. So Kylo Ren, who knows where he got his training from? And also, Daisy Ridley's not trained, so she's like just running around swinging the lightsaber,
she's
knocks down a
like
tree,
she's swinging
like
a staff.
Exactly.
That's
So it makes sense, and I think that's a positive that the fight didn't seem coordinated and it was sloppy, because it makes complete sense. And I'm just wondering, I think that might be the case, that the ending changed due to J.J. Abrams putting this moment in there. So thank goodness, because I love the way that film ends. It's amazing.
Yeah, well, moving on. One last part of this 3D Blu-ray release. We got a new deleted scene from the film titled "It's Not Wise to Upset a Wookiee." It involves Rey and Unkar Plot. It's where Unkar Plot is I don't know what you would call his trash section.
Yeah, I don't know, dude.
His junkyard. Yeah. He's the junkyard owner on Rey's planet and Jakku, and I think that J.J. Abrams always intended to use him a little bit more, but his scenes got cut, and the scene is involved in he's in Maz Kanata's castle hunting down the Millennium Falcon after they steal the Millennium Falcon. It was released by Entertainment Weekly. It's a short scene, about 35-40 seconds long. A little confrontation between Unkar Plutt and Rey, and then Chewbacca steps in, and there's a little confrontation between them as well. Maybe it'll be a little bit longer on the Blu-ray. Jacob, you see the scene. 1, do you like the scene? And 2, do you expect to see any more scenes on the 3D Blu-ray?
I'm glad this is not in the movie.
Yeah, it's kind of a cheesy scene.
It's cool to see, and it makes sense that they would have it. We heard about this for a while. Doesn't it's supposed to go on where he rips off his arm, right?
Where he takes off on
I think
arm, yeah.
I might be mistaken, but I think it's in the novel, the Star Wars: The Force Awakens adaptation novel, that Chewbacca did rip off his arm.
Okay.
I think I might be mistaken, but either that or it was a rumor. But yeah, it's a cool little scene. It's fun to see. It's fun to see that they had this idea. They actually shot the scene.
Yeah.
It just made me like Daisy Ridley even more. She's so amazing.
She's so charming.
Exactly. You know? And like even when she's mad or upset or something, and just she's like even polite when she's like she's trying not to be mean. Like, I would highly suggest that you let my arm go, you know? Like, and it's so awesome. So I mean, but I'm so glad it was not in the movie. It wouldn't have fit. It would have thrown it off. There's certain things about The Force Awakens that I didn't like, and part of it was like the Unkar plot, like, you know, bring me the droid and the girl. Like, I didn't like those scenes, so like, and this reminded me of that. So
did you like his character?
Sure, on Jakku,
yeah,
and like
what he was used for.
But we didn't see enough of him to decide whether you like him or not. I like him as the junkyard boss, but there's 3 times where like somebody gets on their communicator and is like, I found the droid. I hate all 3 of those scenes, but doesn't have to do with Unkar plot. It's just they did it with 3 different characters, so that's just that situation. But just him alone, I liked him on Jakku in the junkyard. That's it.
All right, well, we're going to move away from movie news, and before we get to canon, as far as Rebels and comic books and books go, we're going to talk about a new trailer for a video game expansion pack that's coming out pretty soon. Star Wars: Old Republic is a very coveted game. Knights of the Eternal Throne is a expansion pack coming out pretty soon for the game, and they released a trailer. It is a very stunning cinematic trailer. These video games, they always really release some big trailer before the release. There's been a couple video game trailers here lately, but as far as the Old Republic goes, Knights of the Eternal Throne, I'm going to start this one. I think it's just a fantastic trailer. It shows a very different side of Star Wars, which a lot of people don't know about. It's something we've always wanted. The Old Republic is, hundreds and thousands of years ago. And we see this conflict between a mother and a daughter, and the dark side and the light side, and it's only about 6 minutes long. I actually think there's about a 30-minute one out there somewhere, like a movie one. Yeah, and I'm gonna try to find that and send it to you guys. But this 6-minute trailer, it was awesome, and I think you said it best after you watch it. But I wish this was a movie. Like this is it's so cinematically done well. Like it's so much fun, and I highly recommend checking it out. It's called Star Wars: The Old Republic, Knights of the Eternal Throne. You had said you're definitely going to want to check out these games at some point. I wish these weren't just computer games. I wish these were like on the Xbox or PlayStation or something, and hopefully they dip into this kind of world sometime in the future with a Star Wars story as far as the Old Republic goes. But Jacob, you saw the trailer. I know you're pumped, man. What do you think?
I loved it, man. I felt like I was watching a mini movie, like a short film, It's amazing, and I said it before, like they're really like pushing heroines in the Star Wars universe. We got Rey. The first 2 movies are Rey and Jyn Erso, and I love that. That's awesome. Why not? And it's kind of heartbreaking, this video game trailer, because you see this sweet innocent girl who just like she's force sensitive, and she's so fascinated with it, but you see when she's a little bit older, when she couldn't move that. I don't know, it was like armor, like medieval looking armor. Yeah. And then she just gets mad and completely explodes it. And like that's hinting towards her going down the dark side. And like, it's not like she chose to go down the dark side. She was kind of like forced into it because they saw that in her. And then whatever like the government or the power was back then brought her in and started like, I don't know if they were like torturing her or doing something to her. And that led down her path to the dark side. And then how tragic is that to have a mother and a daughter like go at it? I love it. We were talking about it's like Luke and Vader, but vice versa, like where the daughter is evil and the mother is the good. So
it's crazy.
And I know it's not canon, and maybe that's good that it's not canon, because I want to see Knights of the Republic, and I want them to adapt this storyline. Like I'm cool with something else, but I'm so hyped off of this that I want to see this storyline. It looks amazing.
Yeah, I hear you. And like you had said earlier, the whole yellow lightsaber thing, and just the idea, like the Old Republic. We know that in the prequels there were a lot of Jedis and all that stuff, but the Old Republic, it was armies of Jedis and armies of Sith. Like there were lightsabers everywhere.
That would be amazing. Imagine
everywhere.
like a Lord of the Rings battle, but with Jedi and Sith.
Dude,
that would be amazing.
That's crazy. Yeah, so check it out, this trailer. I'll try and get up on the site. Again, it's called Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic, Knights of the Eternal Throne. So definitely a cool trailer. And I'll try and get you that 30-minute trailer as well. So moving on to a little bit of canon, we're going to start with Rebels. Jacob has not been able to check out the latest episodes yet, so I'm just going to kind of run through episode 3 and episode 4 of season 3 right now. Starting with episode 3, it's all about the Rebels and Wedge Antilles. Sabine goes undercover in the Empire as a pilot, a recruit pilot, and they're trying to extract Wedge. And he's currently a pilot training to be a pilot for the Empire, kind of sucked into it, not with his choice. So Sabine goes undercover to try to extract him and another pilot as well to bring him to the rebels. And it's a cool episode. Kind of filler again, not really any major story points as far as season 3 goes. But there's some really cool stuff in there. We kind of get to see the training of Empire pilots. We get the introduction of Wedge, which is huge. He's obviously a big part going forward in episode 4, 5, and 6. We see how he becomes a rebel. Some cool little action scenes there. There's also a scene in there that I really liked as far as the training ships for the pilots. They were constructed with, so if, say, a pilot was to turn on the Empire, they pop the wings off.
Oh, really?
And the pods just go floating.
What?
Yeah, so that was in the episode. It's pretty cool. But again, it's a little bit of a filler episode. No Thrawn or Ezra or Kanan or anything. It's all about Sabine and Wedge. So I definitely recommend checking it out. It was a fun little episode. Episode 4 though gets back to the norm. We see Thrawn. It's all about Hera though. They go back to their home planet, and it's about her culture, and she's trying to find an artifact from her mom. But Thrawn is there hunting the artifact because he likes learning about the history of his species, and Hera comes into contact with Thrawn. They have some conversation. He finds out who she is, finds out who her father is. There's some cool interactions there for sure. It builds upon Thrawn. It's more of Thrawn's episode, just because those who don't know who Thrawn is, they now know that he likes to study the art and the history of worlds to be able to take them down. And this is what it's hinting at. At some point this season, we're going to see a blowout between all these characters, and Thrawn's going to have all kinds of backstory and all these characters and whatnot. So it's pretty cool. There's some Ezra in there. There's some Sabine, Zeb. So it's a really cool episode. You see the Twi'leks in there again, Hera's father. It's not as much as a filler as episode 3, but it didn't build upon the Ezra and Kanan storyline that we kind of been looking forward to. But we would expect that. It's a 20-plus episode season. There's going to be those episodes, which is unfortunate. But it was a fun episode, and I definitely recommend it. So I know you're looking forward to checking these out. I know you don't really have time to, but...
I mean, yeah, it's time, and I don't have cable at home, so yeah. I got to figure out a way to watch it. You're kind of worrying me a little bit, because my biggest problem last season was the fillers, and they start strong, and then they'd have one great episode and then 3 filler episodes. Mm-hmm. One great episode, 2 filler episodes. I get it. It's a long season. I mean, make this season shorter then if you have that problem.
14, whatever it is.
Even though those filler episodes, we shouldn't complain, because there's always something cool that happens. There's some cool action.
Well, the whole Wedge stuff.
We're kind of spoiled, in a way. I did watch the first episode though, and I liked it a lot. There was some really cool moments, and I like Ezra's older now. I mean, it's so hard to imagine him going to the dark side, but it seems like that's where they're going. But I think we have a while until that happens. But I can't wait to watch the
well, let me ask you this: after watching the first episode, one, what are you most looking forward to after the introduction? And 2, I want to know what you think of that new character, the big guy, the force sensitive.
Oh, okay. What was the first question again?
What are you most looking forward to?
Oh, okay. So I'm looking forward. Just Ezra's journey. Where are we headed with that? Obviously, the Darth Maul thing. Mm-hmm. And I love how they start the episode with Ezra's oh, I don't need you, Kanan, and then that gets resolved by the end of the episode. Yeah. That was a great moment at the end. And when Ezra was really had no hope left, he's like, Kanan, where are you? That was amazing. And then I'm excited to see Ezra's force abilities and how far they've gone, and how he's learned new stuff that Kanan hasn't taught him through the Sith holocron, and then what he does, I think, is it an AT-AT where he takes control of it?
Yeah.
That was amazing.
No, it's AT-ST.
Oh, was it?
AT-ST.
But you know what I'm talking about, where he shoots other stormtroopers and then makes it. I loved that. And then
they ask him, where do you learn that from?
Yeah. And then Thrawn was pretty good. I mean, I don't know much about Thrawn. He wasn't in the episode that much, but
just a little tease.
What I do know about him is that he's very intelligent and strategic in his actions, and I love how. I mean, I don't want to give away spoilers, but how he does something strategic at the end of the episode where he kind of he
lets him go.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, all right, this guy has a bigger plan, a bigger picture, and that's what we've come to hear about Thrawn. So I'm excited about Thrawn and about Ezra's journey the most.
Yeah, well, Rebels is looking like it's going to be a really, really strong season. So.
Oh yeah.
All right, moving on from Rebels, we're going to talk a little comics and books. We're going to start with some Han Solo reviews, issue 3 and 4. Jacob, I'll let you start this one off. You're the reader here. You got the comics in your hands. I just finished issue 3, and I just read 4 as well. But what are your thoughts on them, and where do you think it's going to head?
Well, I'm glad you're caught up now.
Yeah,
so
we finally get to talk about
them. I got
to
catch up on Rebels now, so to match you on that. But I'm loving this comic from the beginning. It's classic Han Solo. I liked issue 3 a lot. I didn't love issue 4. But there are things in it that I really did like. I believe it's only a 6-issue run, so it's going to be wrapping up soon. But overall, they're very entertaining issues. If you've picked up the first 2, I definitely recommend picking them up and seeing this whole thing out. Why not? And I'm wondering where exactly it's going.
How it's going to end.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But because there's only 2 issues, so I'm wondering how they're going to wrap up so much in 2 more issues. But I'm really enjoying it. There's a reason why I keep going back to buy it, and I always love getting the variant covers. As you see, I have issue number 4. I have a really cool
this
variant
awesome.
Cover, and I'm having trouble looking up remembering some of the specifics because it's been a while since I read issue 3. But he's just seeing out the mission, and then they got that beautiful 2-page picture, what you were talking about in issue 3. And it goes through, how many hours does it go
I think
through?
it's 10 hours.
Yeah, it goes through 10
hours.
10 hours in
10
one
hours,
page.
okay. Yeah.
And it's like 10 little segments, and that's an amazing shot because you figure, I wondered, right, this is going to 6 issues in this whole race. How are they going to do that? And this is like a big time jump in the race, and it's like 1 or 2 pages went through 10 hours of a
really
race.
Cool art.
Oh yeah, definitely. There. So yeah, overall, I'm loving these comics because I love Han Solo, and I can't wait to finish it out with the last 2.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite running comics right now. I think that, and it's not just because of Star Wars, but you were talking to me a little bit about Bloodline earlier, and the fact that Solo is a racer, and this really highlights it. He's not just a smuggler. He loves racing the hell out of the Millennium Falcon, and this Dragon Void race is awesome, and there's some really, really cool stuff in here. I like the couple new characters in here. There's that cat-like character, coming after Chewbacca for killing a Rathtar, which is a cool callback to the Force Awakens.
Exactly, yeah. So you get these little things. That's so awesome.
Yeah, and then you have the kind of mother figure. I think it's
like Layri Anu or something like that.
Layri Anu, yeah. I love their relationship.
And she's like a legendary racer in the galaxy.
Kind of mentoring him.
Yeah.
And he was, kind of thinking about running out of the race, and now he got back into it.
She's definitely my favorite new character from this comic book run.
And like you said, you'd love to see her in live action. I would definitely love to see her in live action.
I would love it.
I think that, it's more than likely not going to happen just because the script is probably already written, but I would love to see a film adaptation of this comic book art.
Yeah, it's hard because this is literally
it messes with canon.
This is exactly what happened, so they would have to follow it exactly how it happened. But I wouldn't mind seeing a movie that takes place shortly after this, and then him and Lee Rayano have to go on another mission together. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Because she's a super cool character, and I just love the atmosphere of the whole race thing because he gets so excited.
I know. And it's like he's on this mission, and there's a moment where, I forget if it's in 3 or 4, but there's a moment where he, for the sake of survival and the mission, he was going to have to drop out of the race, but then he didn't want to. And he waited till the last minute, and something happens where he can continue in the race, but he didn't want to give up winning the race. Like, while he's on this mission, yeah, that's fine and all, and he's going to do it. But
he wants to win.
He wants to win the race. He does. He's Han Solo.
Yeah. I'm reading right now, Ray Rayano is just talking about how, they came into the clutches of the Empire, and she's like, we've come this far. Can we not be, are we going to be stopped now?
Exactly.
And he says no, and just keeps on going.
Yeah.
That's the Han Solo that I remember. It's a Han Solo I love seeing. It's just fun. I'm really looking forward to issue 5 and 6. I think it's going to wrap up really well. But the ending is definitely going to be interesting because it's going to determine, where it is in the timeline exactly. And then when we see Han Solo anthology film or Star Wars story, whether it's before or after. So there's some exciting stuff coming forward for Han Solo for sure.
Yeah, I'm loving these comics. Once this run ends, I'm gonna probably finish Podameron. So I'm gonna try to do them one at a time.
I haven't been able to check that out yet, but I do want to check out that, and I also want to. I don't know if we ever finished Obi-Wan and Anakin.
We didn't.
Yeah,
we
that, and then we have
we
Shattered
still have
Empire.
it on Comixology.
Yeah, we also have Shattered Empire, all those little short issues that we have.
Yeah, so we got some homework to do for sure.
Well, speaking of homework, Jacob has spent the last couple of weeks checking out Bloodline on audio, and he was finally able to finish it last week. He's going to do a little recap of as far as from where he was last time we talked about it to now, and talk about what he's going to do going forward as far as audiobooks. So go ahead, man. Take it over.
Yeah, so I reviewed my main thoughts on Bloodline 2 weeks ago on Padawan, and I'm just going to kind of wrap up those thoughts since I finished the book. Man, Star Wars, all right, we're going to put a big spoiler headline right now. I'm going to go into spoilers, not too much spoilers because I don't want to spoil it for Jake. But
yeah, we're going to put up an image
yeah.
with a spoiler image, and then when we take it down, the spoilers will be done. So
see, I'm going to lightly spoil, but if you don't want to know anything about Bloodline, you plan on reading it or audiobooking it, stop this right now and come back after you've read or listened to the story. So, all right. So, I think I was about 2/3 of the way through last time I reviewed it. And, man, Star Wars has a way of, kind of ripping your heart out in a way. And it's not as bad as it sounds, but there's certain things that happen to certain characters where I'm like, and I'm not necessarily referring to deaths. Keep that in mind. I'm not. I could be, but I'm not saying that's for sure. I'm just saying keep that in mind because there's certain characters that I really, really grew fond of during this whole experience, and I'm hoping I see them again. But the thing I was talking about earlier, so I brought up to Jake when we were going over the show notes for Padawan about Kylo Ren and his moment with Han. And how it kind of changed my perspective on Han and Kylo. And there's something that happens in the book. So arguably, and it's funny because I don't know if you remember, but last week I told you that I was at a point on the book where it was the highest cliffhanger.
Yes.
Yeah. So I told you about the character Ransom Casterfo, the politician who's on the opposite party of Leia, and how they've kind of become friends because they were forced to work together and they actually figured out that they get along. So something happens. All right, I'm going to keep this short without giving too much away, but he hates Darth Vader. He has his personal reasons why he hates Darth Vader, and it's very viable reasons. Leia has not told anyone outside of Han and Luke that they are Darth Vader's kids and this is
20 years after.
20 plus years later. Nobody else knows. Somehow it gets revealed to Ransom Casterfo that she is Darth Vader's kid. And he has a personal hate towards Darth Vader. And so they're all friends and good. And Leia's getting ready to run to become the first senator, which is basically the emperor, but they were going to do it right this time.
Yeah.
And he goes up and reveals to the whole entire galaxy that she is Darth Vader's daughter.
Wow.
And this basically strips her of all of her political power. Nobody trusts her. Everyone's, even personal friends are mad at her, people who are close to her. And so at this moment, she does not have any contact with Luke and Ben or Han. They're off doing their things. So I told you, she only told only two people know, Luke and Han. So who doesn't know at this point? Think about it. If you don't, somebody very important doesn't know this, and he's in his 20s. I would assume.
Oh, Ben.
Yep. So imagine, and this is broadcasted throughout the whole galaxy.
Imagine him hearing that.
They could be on some random planet with this being broadcasted right there, and I think this is where the turn happens. I think he finds out. Imagine just finding out out of nowhere. They lied to him his whole entire life, and they never told him that he was Darth Vader's grandson. And imagine, and we've seen like Force users like be very sensitive and like their emotions, like it doesn't take much to drive them down the dark side. And I think that was the beginning of Kylo Ren turning, because imagine he probably felt betrayed. But we don't see his reaction. He's not even really. He just gets mentioned in the book. He's not in the book. But I really believe that we're going to find out later that Ben finding out that through that Leia is Darth Vader's daughter and he's his grandson, and they lied to him, is the reason why he went to the dark side.
If I remember correctly, Claudia Gray wrote this novel.
Yes.
Correct? I could swear I remember someone saying that her next novel is going to be based on Ben Skywalker.
I would love that. Dude, that would make complete sense, because I think we see when he finds out, if that's the case.
I really want to read Bloodlines now.
Dude, and even though I told you this, it's not going to ruin your experience of it the way it happens. So, mind blown, and it's like, it's so crazy because I love that character of Renz McSterfo, and it's funny. So you can imagine where their relationship goes from there, but it kind of it goes in. It doesn't. It's not as predictable as you think it would be. But aside from that, I'm not gonna mention any more spoilers from now on. But so yeah, we'll probably remove the banner now. But Leia is a badass, dude. They do, like I said earlier, they do not hold back on the action. She gets involved, and there was a moment where I was like, holy crap, that is so awesome. Like, she is like the biggest badass ever. And then there's also a little surprise cameo near the end, so I'll leave you with that. But overall,
of who?
It's amazing.
Come on.
I loved it. I am a total Audible person now, especially when it comes to Star Wars books, and I'm going to start my next one pretty soon. So I'm debating whether it's going to be Ahsoka or Tarkin or Dark Disciple. I'm still trying to figure out which one I'm going to do. It's probably going to be Ahsoka. So maybe by next Padawan. I'm not sure when that's going to be. 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks, yeah.
That would be in November.
Okay.
By the time next Padawan comes around, I will have started Ahsoka. So we'll see how that goes, and I'll have that review for you guys.
You got me real excited for Bloodline.
Check out Bloodline. I definitely recommend it if you want to know more about Leia, about Han, a little bit of information about Ben, and just, it's a political thriller, and it's very entertaining.
And check it out on audiobook.
Yes, check it out on audiobook. It's a great experience for sure.
Yeah, I'm pumped, man. I want to read this book now. That got me really excited. So. All right, we're going to move on to our final segment of the show, Address the Academy. I'm going to bring up something that we've talked about over and over and over again, but it just kind of keeps on coming back. We've already mentioned her today, but Ahsoka Tano, part of Star Wars The Clone Wars, part of Star Wars Rebels. She was Anakin's Padawan. She is now kind of the master of Jedis in this Rebels universe. Ashley Eckstein, who plays Ahsoka Tano, she actually narrated the novel, just so you know.
Oh, really?
So she's doing the audiobook for the novel. Yes.
That's awesome.
So she came out.
That gets me even more excited.
Yeah, so she did a very extensive interview. She talked about Ahsoka and kind of where the characters come. She also talked about live action, which has been mentioned time and time again, and where they can take a movie. She mentioned things like what happened when she left the Order in the Clone Wars, that whole space in between. Maybe even a film about her and Rex and the troop that they had in the Clone Wars, maybe a story based around them, or possibly she said, what does Ahsoka do in the day in the life? Like something along that lines. So I kind of just want to throw the idea out there, what would Ahsoka be about, and when could we possibly see her? Could we possibly see her in a Star Wars story movie? Could we see her in maybe a saga movie going forward? Because right now, she's in a hiatus in Rebels. We don't know if she's dead or alive. We kind of think that she's alive. She just hasn't shown up yet. We don't know when she'll show up yet, or if she will show up. It hasn't really been confirmed yet. So I kind of just want to talk about a little bit more her live action chances and maybe what it could be about. So
yeah, I love Ahsoka. I've grown to love her. I like her in the Clone Wars a lot, but just really in Rebels, even though she wasn't in it that much,
she's a strong character.
I've grown to love her through that show, and I always wanted and thought that she would show up in live action, but I don't think you make an Ahsoka movie. I don't think there's enough I don't think there's enough for that. I mean, I don't know if there's any blank spots in the era where her and Anakin were Master and Padawan, but they would never do it with Hayden Christensen and her.
That would be pretty cool.
I would absolutely love that.
Really
but
cool.
I don't think they would ever do it.
Yeah.
That just one movie with them, because we see these Master Padawans relationships, but I want to see Darth Vader, Anakin as a master, like with his Padawan, in live action. But I think it would be like similar to a movie like Rogue One, where they have to go on a certain mission and Ahsoka's like the main character or the second main character. But I just don't see an Ahsoka film like doing that great at the box office or being that big of a draw. But I do think we could definitely see her in a movie. Hey, why not the Obi-Wan Kenobi movie? Honestly, like, why not? Like, because we don't. Where is she in the future? Like,
well, in the Clone Wars, did you finish Clone Wars?
No.
So near the end of Clone Wars, she stepped away from the Jedi Order because she was framed, and so there's a huge gap from. And the Clone Wars took place between episode 2 and 3. So between episode 2 and 3, all the way up until 10 years before episode 4. So there's like 20-year gap there. 20 plus.
That's what I'm saying.
So
you could totally do something with her and Obi-Wan.
what is she doing?
What was Obi-Wan doing during that time?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I kind of agree. There's so much space to tell, and from the time we see her leave the Order until the time we see her in Rebels, she is so much more powerful. Like, what does she do in that time gap? That's what I would personally want to see. But the whole Anakin and that thing, that gets me excited. Anakin and Ahsoka Tano thing, Master Padawan.
I wish.
That would be so cool.
I wish. But I think Obi-Wan and Ahsoka is the next best thing.
Yeah, that'd be super cool.
Well, because look how close Rebels is to episode 4.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty close. And Ahsoka, I'm assuming she's still alive. We saw her walking in that cave or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Like, she could have went and fell and died, but they're not gonna let her go out like that,
I wonder why she was going back in that cave.
Who knows? We'll find out.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to find out, that's for sure. So, all right, that's gonna wrap up the Padawan Podcast today. A lot of good stuff to talk about. Before we go, I'd like to thank Jacob for joining me today again. Let them know where they can find you online, man.
You can find me on Twitter at @JacobBarley_, and of course on this YouTube channel. Thank you all for listening. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, no, I'm glad to have you every week, dude, talking Star Wars. So you can find me, Jake Berlin, at Twitter and Instagram, at Qui-Gon Jake, PocketFlixMovies.com every day. Check out everything we got going on here on Pocketflix, movie news, movie reviews. A lot of big movies coming out soon. We're going to try and get out some reviews as soon as we can with our busy schedule. So until next time, may the Force be with you.